Hey guys, welcome back to the All Gen Gamers podcast. I am Metal Jesus of Metal Jesus Rocks, and this is episode 107. We are recording this on August 14th, and I'm joined with my host tonight. We'll start with John Gamester81. How are you doing, John?
Good, Jason. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Can't wait to hear about the little expo you went to.
Yes.
It was amazing. We'll talk about more later in the podcast. It was epic good times.
I bet. I saw the photos on Facebook. It's going to be awesome. And we also have Pete Dorr in the house. How's it going, Pete?
Doing fairly well.
How hot is it in your neighborhood right now?
It's hard to tell because I got the AC on, so I have that thing running almost all day, so I never really know the true heat because, you venture outside not too often.
Dead. Melted. Dead.
Nice. And of course, we have Jason Heine of the EMU Review. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Speaking of hot, Phoenix, heat advisory, 115 today. Now that's melting material, right, John?
That is scorching hot.
Yes, right.
Scorching hot.
How hot does it typically get? I mean, is that the top end or
That's about the cap, I'd say, during the summer months, when you say, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the hottest it's ever been here was like 122.
Jeez. Wow.
Which, to put it in Celsius, I guess 115 is like 46 Celsius for those who don't know Fahrenheit necessarily. So
Wow, that was really impressive that you did that, actually, right on the spot.
It's called Google Calculator.
Yeah, nice.
Typed it in, so.
You're using the power of the interwebs.
And 122 would be 50 Celsius. So.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then we're also joined by our special guest. Her name is Anna, but she goes by Caffeine Media Girl on YouTube, and she also has her website. How's it going, Anna?
It's going pretty well. It's not 115 here, but it's a cool 80. Doing all right.
I know. It's a beautiful week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, very, very cool. I'm glad that you came on the podcast, and I'd love to know a couple things. I want you to talk about your YouTube channel and your website and things like that. We're also going to get into your band. But first, we need to ask you the all-important question. What is your all-time favorite game?
That is a toss-up probably between Yoshi's Island and Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Both great games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yoshi's Island right there. Nice.
Yeah. Love that game.
I kind of wish they'd make a second one to that.
Totally.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
On the DS.
What?
It's not as good,
DS?
though, yeah.
And then
Yoshi's
they-
Island DS.
Then they did a Yoshi Story on 64, but man, the magic in Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island is something. There's something about that game.
Can't be matched. The sequel on DS doesn't hold a candle to it, in my opinion.
See, I always thought the DS version was the same port. Now it's a completely different game now.
Yeah, I thought it was the same as well. Did not realize that.
Leave it to Pete. Drop some knowledge on you. Boom.
So I'd like to have you talk a little bit about your YouTube channel and your pickups. You're fairly new to YouTube, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fairly new to YouTube. I started it up in June, and you can find me at youtube.com/caffeine media girl, all one word. And I had been watching other YouTube channels about video game collecting, and I hadn't really been too hardcore into collecting, but I was one of those people who never threw anything away, It's like, oh, that's an old console. It might be old, but it's still really awesome to play it. So I never understand why people give away their old consoles when they still play video games.
Amen.
Yeah. But,
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the latest games you picked up, because I know you picked up a boxed Virtual Boy, right?
yeah, that was, it definitely wasn't a find in the wild, and I'd been going after the Game Boy handhelds, and I heard people talking about the Virtual Boy. I really wanted to pick it up, and I've been watched eBay for probably a year, but just like a couple months ago, I saw one go on for about $120, and that's what I picked it up for before they were going for around two and up, which I just did not want to pay that much for it. And funnily enough, it made me instantly tired when I played the Virtual Boy. My eyes couldn't handle it for more than 20 minutes before I needed a nap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, Anna, I'm curious, actually. So, your YouTube channel, it's new. So,
Yep.
For someone who is just starting out a YouTube channel, about a month or so old, what are your plans for the channel? What are you going to be featuring on there? What are you going to be doing? Do you have any idea of what you're going to be doing? So, we all can kind of get an idea of where the channel is going to go, or...
Yeah, the vision was primarily to be games and kind of all things media. But when I started actually executing the channel, it was a lot tougher than I thought. One of my other hobbies is photography, and so I use my Nikon D90 for filming, but it has a cap of recording only 5 minutes at a time. So that's kind of been a pain in the ass to use. So I also want to cover eventually music. Might get into movies some, but I kind of wanted to cover all aspects of media, but primarily focus on video games and pickups and kind of the story of just starting out, so you can kind of watch my collection grow from being a fairly new collector and things I find along the way, whether, it's the actual storing your collection, displaying it, going out and finding things, and just kind of seeing the whole process start to probably never finish, but
Oh yeah, you'll never be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is just an addiction. It's so much fun. So this is cool. Well, that's really cool. You decided to start one and go out there and have some fun. So enjoy it.
Yeah, I will, and I already am so far. And as watching your guys' videos, and it was kind of funny hearing you guys talk about not being able to stand your first 10 videos, and I'm getting close to there, and I already can't stand my first, few. But, keep them up anyways, because you have to start from somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say it's closer to my first 100, but yeah, for sure. That's cool. So, would you consider yourself more like a retro gamer or modern or both?
I feel like I'm a pretty good balance of both. I mean, I love the retro consoles. I grew up Nintendo. I think a lot of people in my generation who grew up with Nintendo always thought you either were Nintendo or, Sega or Sony. You couldn't, have them all. And playing these other consoles and getting like a Sega Genesis for the first time. I played it at a friend's house before, but it's been interesting just seeing what I've missed out on, it's been interesting. But I also love, between the PS3 and the Xbox 360, I probably play more Xbox 360. But yeah, a good balance of both.
It's funny, when you first emailed me, you mentioned that you live in Seattle. I was kind of jealous. I was like, oh man, it's like there's competition.
I usually say Seattle area because if you start saying, people might know Redmond because of Microsoft, but if you start getting into Bothell, Woodinville, Linwood, people are like, huh? So it's easier to say Seattle.
Well, and I've watched some of your pickups videos, and I've been jealous. I've been like, oh man, look at all those boxed and television games. I'm like, damn it, those have been mine.
Yeah, I love Goodwill and Value Village, though. The Valley Village that I had been hitting up, they've raised their prices, and so I'm wondering if I single-handedly did that. I don't think so, but I don't go there now because they want like $5 for a loose Monopoly Sega Genesis game.
Oh wow!
No, thank you.
It's interesting. I always find when I find vintage games in Television, Atari, Generation 2, that time, it always seems like I find a lot more box and television games than any other console. Which
is weird,
yeah.
right? Because
it's weird, right?
They're cardboard. I mean, they should they should disintegrate just like all the others. It's weird that people kept them.
Right? Yeah, it's really weird. Like Atari, I hardly find any box Atari games or even ColecoVision, but for some reason in television.
Maybe it was the Intellivision mentality that people who played Intellivision just kept their, complete in box everything.
Yeah, then the Atari kids like us were just the crazy Atari kids throwing everything away, hide everything, going in the
boxes.
trash.
Yeah. It could be the inlays or the overlays that
I was thinking
the joysticks. Yeah.
Possibly. But, the ColecoVision had that. So,
But the boxes on the Intellivision seem to be a bit more, I don't know, to me, a little bit more sturdy than the ColecoVision boxes. So maybe they don't break down quite as fast as the ColecoVision ones.
Now, speaking of boxes, guys, you guys watched the Game Chasers recent rant video with Alpha Omega Sin? You guys see it?
Yeah.
Talking about movie, there's a company in Texas, and it's actually the same as Vintage Stock, so it pains me to say this because I love Vintage Stock. But I've noticed this too. They throw away box games. So if you trade in the game, they throw them away.
Yeah,
What?
I saw that video, and I just was in Redmond. I went into a GameStop because they're getting rid of their GameCube games, so it's a good time to check those out. And I was looking for their used DS games, and it's like, I see you have them in the case where they're just the cartridges, but where's your boxed ones? And they throw their DS cases away now to make room for it, at least at that particular location,
Yeah,
unless it's a sought after title like Castlevania. But I was like, you just throw them away. Like, you can't store them in the back, you just throw them away.
So Pete, theoretically, someone could bring in Earthbound. I don't know why they would trade it in, but anyway, they could bring it in, box, complete, manual, everything. They probably throw away the box and sell the manual and game separately.
I can't imagine they would do that. That's fucked.
That's just like abandoning your child on the streets. Like that's just wrong.
Make sure to follow us, the All Gen Gamers podcast, on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and in iTunes. And don't forget about those iTunes ratings, guys. We appreciate those. And for all other info, links, and our forum, please visit www.allgengamers.com.